Hello, I'm Joel Deering with the International Volleyball Hall of Fame. We are speaking one-on-one today with members of the induction class for 2018. This is Volleyball in Perspective. I'm joined today by Bas van der Goor of the Netherlands. Bas, welcome.
Thank you.
You are being inducted for a remarkable playing career, highlighted by the thrilling 5-set victory over Italy in the 1996 Atlanta Games, and this on the heels of losing to them earlier in pool play. Playing for Hall of Fame coach Jupp Alberta and alongside two other Hall of Famers, Peter Blanger and Ron Swerver, this victory represented the first ever gold for the Netherlands. You were recognized as the most valuable player, and you played alongside your brother Mike on that team, making you the first brothers to win volleyball gold together. You went on in 1997 to lead your Netherlands team to the European Championship, and then you returned to the Olympic stage in 2000, losing to eventual gold medal Yugoslavian team in an epic 5-set thriller. But despite your team finishing 5th in those games, you won a second consecutive Most Valuable Player award. In total, you competed in 295 matches playing for the Netherlands. You played professionally not only at home but also in Italy, and were part of 3 title teams in the European Champions League. In 2003, you were diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, which led you in 2 different directions. First, you transitioned into volleyball leadership position, first as a technical director for your volleyball club, and then became a key administrator for the Netherlands Beach Volleyball Association. And eventually, you served as tournament director for the Hague Grand Slam and the 2015 FIVB Beach Volleyball World Championships. And you also started a foundation in your name with a mission to improve the quality of life for people with diabetes through sport. Let's go back to the beginning. Could you share a few memories of your first experiences in sport, including when you first started playing volleyball?
Well, I started with a couple of sports. So I played table tennis and judo and soccer, and then I played volleyball. I was like 9 years old. All my friends started playing volleyball, so I just joined them. It was really fun to do.
And how big is your family, and did you inherit your athletic abilities from your parents?
Well, my father played volleyball once a week with his friends, not in a club, but just between friends. So he invited me to go and play volleyball. So I started at 9 years, and my brother, who eventually also was a member of the Olympic gold medal team, he started playing. He's like 1.5 years younger, and he started only at age 16. So I did it at the beginning. I was the only one playing volleyball. Together with tennis, and then I started growing. So I left tennis aside, and I started playing volleyball full time, and it was really fun. I was big outside the court and inside the court, and inside the court it helped me a lot. Outside the court I was like a little bit nervous about being big, so it helped me enormous on the court.
Who are your sports heroes growing up?
Michael Jordan. Yeah, he was like, we could see some matches in the Netherlands. I actually had a USA Today subscription to see because there was no internet yet, so to see the scores of the games he played. Yeah, it was quite. Every time he played, I was really amazed by not only the athletic abilities, but also how he took his team to win championships and how he changed the game of basketball.
And during your career, did you have a teammate in particular you looked up to?
Well, figuratively, yes. I'm 6'11", so I only met one Dutch teammate who was like bigger than me, taller than me. But Jan Postema. Jan Postema, he was, I think he's like 6 or 7 years older than I am, and he was like the middle blocker in the national team. So growing up, I watched him. He was same size, same position, and he was the best blocker in the world, by far. So I really enjoyed watching him, and then once I made the team, playing against him, because if you can play him every day, then in the game it only gets easier. Yeah.
My next question was about that period of time. You started competing in high-level competitions at a young age. At what point did you start to believe that you could make a successful career as both an Olympic and professional athlete?
Well, it was kind of strange because I wanted to play volleyball, but I never had, like when I was 16 or 17 years, I didn't have the belief that I could make it until the Olympic level. So I was just having fun for myself. And then I think when I was playing in the European Championships '93, Joop took me to the team and I could play 2 matches. And this was the pool phase against Italy and the final against Italy. And I entered the team during the match and I finished the match. So I did well and after that tournament I thought, well, if I can play 2 times against Italy and stay in the court, that means there must be something going well. So then I prepared 1 year after in the Netherlands, preparing to go and make the big step to the Italian competition, and it worked out. So I think at the age of 20, 21, that was the age where I thought, well, maybe I can make it to the big leagues.
What did you think were your strengths as a player? And like what was maybe naturally strong for you? What did you have to work at?
Well, as a middle blocker, of course, it's important to be a good blocker and a fast spiker. I think for my size, 6'11", playing defense and reception was quite okay. Not fantastic, but for like a middle blocker, right now you have the libero, of course, but then you have to be also great at the backcourt play. My serve was not that good. And I was kind of versatile. So I could play middle blocker, but I could also play outside hitter sometimes if needed.
You mentioned Coach Alberta, who's known as the architect, right? Yeah. What were his strengths as a coach?
Well, instead of telling us what we had to do, he was inspiring us where we had to go. And so this was very, very important for us because we had like a few guys on the team who were like really some winners and thought they could make it on their own. And I think that was also the strength of the team. And instead of putting everybody together, he just said, guys, let's go there. And everybody followed him. Yeah, that's really a big strength of him.
Share something about those 2 Hall of Famers that I mentioned, both Peter and Ron. What was something in particular about what they brought to the court that was just, even as a teammate on the court, was exciting to be part of?
Well, I have to say about Ron, he made clear to me, because in the beginning I didn't go to the national team. I didn't drop everything to be part of the national team. I was just considering study, and he made me clear through the journals that was a mistake for me. I mean, being a volleyball player is a job where you have to be dedicated 100%. So that's a really important lesson from him. And from Peter, it's you can be in the gym and waste your time, or you can be in the gym and work on what's most important, and that is trying to get better and winning. And that's easy to say, but what it really means is that you have to go 100% full committed and make a match, a game of every training. And it was really intense between him and me, because together, where we were on the same side, it was like heaven. Yeah. He liked to play first tempo from all different angles, but when he was on the other side, his goal was not only to win for my team, but also to dare me as a middle blocker. We had like constant this game, and it was really difficult. I mean, like playing against Postma as a blocker, it would only get easier during the games, but playing against Blanchet as a setter, it also became less difficult during the games. Yeah.
And how about playing with your brother?
Well, that was really great. He, like I said, he made a late entrance in the volleyball community. At 16, he started playing. So with his last name in favor, of course, some people noticed him and he came. But you cannot be part of the Olympic team just by name. He did really great. He was, I think, an even better blocker than I was. And when I played with him on the 97, 2000 Olympics. As a captain, I had to be tough on him sometimes because people were thinking, well, it's his brother, he doesn't take care of him like he does to the others. So I have to be hard on him sometimes, even a little bit too hard to just. But I really enjoyed the moment when he heard that he could make it to the Olympic final, to the Olympic Games, sorry. Because there was another player who everybody thought would make it. So at the last training, Joop Alberda asked those two players inside for like the meeting and to explain why he chose for one of the two guys. And my brother went in first, and I was waiting with the other guy. When he came out with straight face, they switched. When the other guy went in, Mike, he said, I'm going to the Olympics. So that was a really great ride home with the two of us. Yeah, that's great.
You mentioned being a captain. What do you think are the key ingredients in our sport? What do you think are some key ingredients for leadership from within as a captain?
Well, I think you have to show what is needed to be at the top. So you're an example for the team. I think it's really important. And there are some moments in the game where you have to put on your face to win. If you don't offer your cheek, then it's not working. So in those crucial moments, you have to ask for every ball possible and do 100%, not 105%, not 95, but 100%, and show your teammates what is needed to make the last step.
So you've been asked many times what it's like to be on the Olympic stage and win gold. And I'm going to ask you that in a minute, but I want to take you back to some specifics of the 96 games. So you're watching Pool A with Cuba coming out on top, and your own Pool B ends up with your team second behind Italy. And I want to ask you about the July 25th loss in pool play to Italy, 8-15, 8-15, 13-15. And while we know that after defeating Russia 3-0 in the semis, you avenged this loss, we'll get to that. Share a few thoughts about right after that pool play loss and the time of reflection your team and coach spent. What was a team's state of mind? How did you all handle that?
Well, this game goes like 2 months back because then we won from Italy in the World League finals. And this is the first big match we won from Italy. I mean, we lost in the 93 European Championship final. We lost to them in the World Championship 94 final. We lost again against them in 95 European Championship final. So we lost all finals against Italy, and we wanted to win a big final. Right. So we did, and during the World League final in the Netherlands. And they were like really pumped up. So entering the game, we saw them warm up, and we thought, wow, this is going to be a tough game. I think Blanchet and Zwerver and I were changed during the match because we were not playing well. So in 15-8, 15-8, and they were really touching all the balls. They played a very nice game. So after the match, we were like, okay, they were frustrated about the loss of the final 2 months before. Right. And now they lost all this negative energy about us. So for us, it's okay. It's better to have this match right now than to see them for the first time in the final. So after, I think like 5 years ago, I watched some interviews of us after the game, and it's almost cocky how we did it. I mean, it's overconfident. I was saying things that I'm ashamed of right now. I mean, at this position, talking about, well, no problem, we get them in the... It was like, huh? What did I say right then? So, but for us, it was okay. We passed to the quarterfinals. We had, I think, the most difficult match in the Olympics against Bulgaria.
Bulgaria, yep. 3-1? Was it
3-1, it was close, well, if you lose that match, everything is gone. So there was a great amount of pressure. And they had a team which, if everybody of that team thought, let's make these guys difficult, they could play very well. But if they didn't have that day, it could also be a 3-0 in 1 hour. So, and they played well, we won 3-1, and then we breezed through the semifinals against Russia. I think we played our best match of the tournament over there. It was incredible, 3-0.
That was 3-0.
3-0. And then up to the finals, yeah.
So now,
Yeah.
here we go. Stop.
Okay.
Outscored in total 66-71, 15-12, 9-15, 16-14, 9-15,
Uh-huh.
and 17-15.
Yeah, yeah.
And so here we go, gold medal match. Just some memories of that match.
Well, it started when we went from the Olympic Village to the gym. We were at the bus stage, and one of us figured out that he didn't made any photos of this location. So he took his camera and he made some photos. And then one guy saw this and he took his photo camera. So we were all photographing this bus stop. And then the bus with the Italians drove by. And they were looking at 12 tourists just before the Olympic final. So we were like, oh, that's not that nice that they see us like that. But then we entered the game. And it was like the most tense moment of my life. It's so we started off, and it was, I think, for like 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, it was like 1-0, 2-0. It was like an eternal moment. And then after 3 hours, we had a match point against us. And Joop told me that he heard. I didn't know the standing, so I didn't know afterwards. In the press conference, I was asked, "What were your thoughts during match point for Italy?" And I was like, "Sorry, match point for Italy? Yeah, well, Italy had a match point."
Wow.
Okay, I didn't know. and Joop told me that there are 3 other guys who didn't know. They were like,
wow,
completely
so all in.
All in, yeah. And afterwards, I spoke with a psychologist, and he said, "You want your team to be like this, but you guys did it on your own. That's really great." So because it doesn't matter if the standing is like 15-14 or 14-14 or 2-2, it doesn't depend on how you play. You have to just play your best.
Right.
So that's great. And then afterwards, I had a doping control with my brother. Together with 2 Italians, Gianni and Bernardi, who are both also Hall of Famers, I think. And it's kind of strange because you just win the biggest event of your life, and you're in a 4x4 meter room, sitting together with your teammate. One teammate, Gianni was my teammate. And you have to be respectful for them. So you cannot celebrate too much.
Right.
You just have to wait with my brother. And then when we were finished, we get out and we, like, you know, the cartoon where you exit the building and then everybody goes crazy. Yeah, that was really great.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you for sharing. There's some remarkable parts of that story. So I'm going to ask you in a few minutes about some of the post-playing career health challenges you've confronted. But during your playing days, did you have any significant injuries that you had to battle through?
Yes. I had some disease. I'm not sure what the English names are, like a TIA. You know, the...
TIAs?
Yeah, in your brain. Where
Yes,
yeah, I had one of those. Hepatitis A, and some normal volleyball injuries. So that were the things that bothered me during the career. Yeah.
Clearly, we know that the competition there with Italy. Who do you see, thinking back, who are the greatest 1 or 2 just great players from other countries that you competed against, whether it was in the Olympic Games or in professional?
Well, and we always looked up against the Cubans and the Brazilians. They were really spectacular. And during warm-up, we were looking at them like, how is it possible that we're going to have like a chance winning from them? I really liked also Dmitry Fomin, the Russian player. He is an incredible player. Yeah, I think those are the best players. And of course, I had the honor, because it feels really like this, to play Steve Timmins and Coach Riley. Those are the biggest names ever.
And the last volleyball question, it's remarkable to me that you win a most valuable player on a team that's not getting a podium, on the podium.
Yeah.
Respond to that, you know, that 2,000 games and still being selected as most valuable player.
Yeah, I'm not sure how this competition works, because for me, I think the MVP needs to be in the final. Because an MVP is, I mean, you can make some nice points and you can make a lot of points, but an MVP makes the team win. So it makes it even prettier,
yeah.
But if I was on the jury, it wouldn't be me. No.
So over time, you transitioned from playing the game to serving as a leader and administrator.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen footage of the 2015 FIVB Beach Volleyball World Championships, and you served as tournament director to events that were sold out in a competition in 4 different cities, I believe. That's quite an administrative task. And on top of that, you organized an attempt at a Guinness World Record with people participating on 276 beach courts.
Yeah.
So talk to us about your experience as a leader.
Well, the ambition of the Dutch Volleyball League, the Volleyball Federation, was to get people more involved in playing beach volleyball. I think we're quite good at the top of it, and therefore they wanted to organize this event, the World Championship, and not on one place. We have to bring it to the people. So we have to go into the country, and not on the beach, but bring stadiums in the cities, on different locations, and invite people to join. So instead of having 1 center court and 3 other places, we have 4 center courts. So there's great respect for all the players. They play all the matches on center courts. So they're all full stadiums. We divided the Dutch players. So every city had a couple of Dutch players. Of course, they wanted to see the Dutch players, and this went really well. We had beach volleyball weather, which is not very common in the Netherlands, so that helped great. And about the world record attempt of playing on the most beach volleyball, of course you want to let people play for themselves. So instead of just watching, we invited them to the beach, and we had a lot of different competition going on, so business teams against business teams, charity teams against charity teams, and free people who just wanted to participate, they could play. And it was a really nice picture, seeing all the fields populated with all the people.
Well, congratulations, because it was a fantastic championship. So you have been faced with 2 significant health issues. The first was a diagnosis of type 1 diabetes. Can you talk about how you handled that, and what led you to establishing your foundation and the impact that has had on others?
Well, I was diagnosed on the 11th of November in 2003. So it's in a couple of days, it's 15 years ago. I didn't know anything about it, so I didn't know how to deal with it. Luckily, there was an Olympic legend, Sir Steve Redgrave. He's a 5-time Olympic gold winner from England, rowing, and he had type 1 diabetes when he won his 5th. So he showed me the first day of the diagnosis that you can, even in one of the toughest sports there is, in rowing, be an Olympic champion with type 1. So that gave me a lot of confidence. And honestly, we thought with my partner, business partner, we should create a podium for other people to show how sports can be positive if you have diabetes. So we started this foundation to enhance quality of life for people with diabetes through exercise and sport. We're like in 7 right now, organizing a lot of events, and it's really great to do, because it's on the intersection between diabetes and volleyball and sports, which are 2 main things of my life. So that's really great.
So you wrote a book with the title High on Insulin that described your trek to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro in 2008 with a medical team and 7 other climbers who also have diabetes. How did all of that happen?
Well, actually, this was a private dream for me, a personal dream. I wanted to climb Kilimanjaro because I saw one documentary once, and when I was diagnosed, the doctor said that I could forget going on mountains because it's too difficult. So then I thought, well, then we're gonna organize this.
That was a green light.
Yeah. So game on, I thought. I asked a few doctors and other persons with type 1 diabetes, and we made it. 18 people started and 18 people went to the top. That was great. And it was because if people with diabetes saw us reaching the top, they could have thought that it would be possible also for them to play just soccer or tennis, or just it's possible to play, to be active and with diabetes. This is in the beginning. Right now we have like a kind of different message. Not it's possible. No, you're crazy if you aren't doing sports, because I think it's really great to do sports. It helps you enormously managing your blood glucose levels.
Yeah. And then you had another setback more recently with a diagnosis of lymphoma that led to successful treatment that included chemotherapy.
Yeah.
Did some follow-ups on that. Did life lessons from sport help you as you encountered this challenge?
Well, it's a kind of a strange life lesson, volleyball lesson, because in volleyball, you always, in sports, you have a plan and you stick to the plan. That's what you do, because there is a target and you reach it or you don't reach it. Well, with my plan during the chemotherapy and afterwards was there is no plan, because you cannot set you want to be fit in 1 year, because sometimes it takes 2 years or 5 years or it never goes away. So I just pulled out the strategy out of my head. There is no strategy, just let it happen. And because I spoke with one psychologist, and she said that half of the people she's talking to are people who had cancer, but think they do not come back in proper time. So, and they say, okay, I want to be ready in 1 year, and then they don't make it, and then they say, okay, 14 months, 16 months, and every time it's a goal which they don't reach, and then it goes, from there it goes down. So I would just say, well, if it takes 1 year, it takes 1 year. If it takes 2 years, it takes 2 years. So that was the plan. There is no plan. Yeah.
How about family support with all you've been through?
Very
Talk
important.
about that.
Because we have a family of four children, and my girlfriend is over here, Nicole. She, instead, normally we have like 4 kids with the 2 of us, and then she had 5 kids alone. So that's kind of difficult for her. And if at that time you don't know if everything will go well. So it was a really dark 6 months. And after the photo, the scan came that everything was okay. I mean, we had a big celebration, of course.
Well, thank you for sharing about that, and we wish you well with your foundation. And you're feeling well?
Yeah, very good.
You look terrific.
Thank you.
And so here we are, the last question, most important question. How does it feel being inducted into the International Volleyball Hall of Fame?
Well, this is, of course, a great honor, and especially because all the people in the Hall of Fame, they made the judgment who was the one who are the ones who come to the Hall of Fame. So my name with all the other, I think 25, 30 persons going around to the table, and me being one of the 5 to enter, that's really, really special. And something that at the beginning of your career is not a goal, but it's a really, really nice feeling that you enter history. And that's fantastic. I'm really honorful.
Well, it's wonderful to have you here, and thank you so much for this conversation. We've been speaking with International Volleyball Hall of Fame Class of 2018 honoree, Bas van der Gaar. This is Volleyball in Perspective, and I'm your host, Joel Daring. Thank you for watching.